What's up, everybody? Let me see if you can hear me, see me. YouTube a little slow. No echo. We are good to go. Let me see. I don't know. I sent B the link. I don't know where he's at. Let's see when he jumps in. Meanwhile, if you're on eBay right now, they're doing Soul Stage is doing kind of like their eBay live. Can we show that? Let me see. There we go. So there, if you want to see what that looks like, there's no bidding. It is just like they have a coupon code, 10% off sneakers deal, and then they're just talking about the shoes, and you click on it, goes to view item, and then you just buy it. So I mean, it's totally different than whatnot, but it is like a live selling. In case you want to see what that looks like with actual sneakers, I know we showed it with cards, but I don't know, interesting, and see how that plays out. We do have finds. We're gonna start off with finds, but let's see who's here. Sneaker Pickers NYC. Sales up 26% compared to last time. There we go. Compared to last year. There he is. We can't hear him. We can see him though. Rodolfo, Pacers, Big Money Mo, Tony, Lucky on Three Legs, Rory Matt, Danny. We still can't hear him. We can see him.
You hear me now?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
There you go. Yo, I didn't get a notification. I was like, what's going on with Glenn?
Oh, I sent
Yeah,
you the link like 10 minutes before.
I know. I was like, I got into my office because my phone did buzz, and I was like, what's wrong with him? And then I went to my Facebook on desktop. The message was there.
I don't know what's going on. Crazy out there.
But we
Rich
didn't
man. Oh, I was showing everybody the with Soul Stage being on eBay.
twice.
So
That's
is
the
this
second
real
time.
right here in this corner? 25,000. I mean, are they watching
Yeah,
live,
yeah,
or is
yeah.
that just
That's
like
real.
views in
That's real
general?
count. That's real count.
Real twenty five
Yeah,
thousand.
yeah. That's real count right there.
What? That is wild.
Yeah, Hustle BB next.
Also, be next. He went to go change his hat.
Yeah, yeah. I had to get change my head because my bill was crooked.
Hustle in silence. That's a one kick finder. Slim Pickens, my boy. Jimmy. Retrospective gear. Brian. How was sourcing today, Brian? Gummy and Palma. Let me see. Oh, I bought shoes under retail using the 10% coupon last week. There we go, Danny. So I did use the coupon. Real
Yeah,
cow.
yeah. You
Crazy.
still have the coupon right now?
Yeah, sneakers deal 10% off.
Oh,
So soon we'll see Beehive 10% off. Or some
yeah.
B deals.
Right, right, right.
So
V10.
B10.
V10.
Yeah, B10. Baker brand, what's up? It's not surprising eBay's second largest online shoes retail by sales.
Yep.
I was kind of surprised though when on IG that when they were talking about StockX selling fakes, and there was so many comments with people that were saying how like that they check StockX for like style code and price,
Mm-hmm.
and they just go straight to eBay and go. And
That's true.
and I don't know, eBay really took back. I mean, a lot of the sneaker
I
side of
mean, they,
things.
they spent all that money, you know? We were recipients of it, no fees and all that jazz. And they got the market share back. And I mean, now they're the main sponsor for, SneakerCon, authentication, everything. I think they're just doing it right. I think they've learned from other people and then they've done it. They're trying to do it better.
Yeah, so I mean that's good, and let's see what I guess the live sales how that works or what's gonna happen there. But I know they're still a little further back compared to
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Whatnot's doing right now. Yeah, I'm doing better on eBay compared to Go. It says Danny, eBay for live sneaker pickers. The
Hmm.
no fees lured people in. Once you set up shop, you aren't going to leave anymore. Even they started taxing more and more. But not only that, even on Mercari, they're starting to charge sales tax on the shipping,
Hmm.
and this is going to be for every platform now. I know that's like something that like sellers are kind of like, what? Now now eBay's taxing on purpose because of fees on top of the sales tax and things like that. But now everybody's doing it, and I mean it does suck because in the end, as the consumer, things add up real quick. You think you're spending 55 plus shipping, and then it comes out to who knows what after that. So it is what it is. Let me see. Dapper Fanatic, Brian. I went to Yarborough store. Everyone was there. Oh man. So Yarborough store is like one of our. I guess it's we would say our biggest Burlington that we do have in the city. But I mean it makes sense. Probably our better one. So the beat. So you're gonna go live on Whatnot after this?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Dude, I had a scheduled show at 7. I pushed it to 7:30, and then like 15 minutes till 7:30. It's like, I'm not feeling it.
I even jumped in and I was like, "What? Bees out here?" And then it said, "This has changed to 1 p.m. tomorrow." I was like, "What? Where is this guy?" All right, so today, one hella topic.
Let's do it.
So top three problems all eBay sellers face.
Ooh.
Select goods. There he is. Select. I tried jumping into your Whatnot earlier. I was driving, but I didn't get to see much. Um, okay, so here's a question for the chat. What are some issues or problems you're facing right now as an eBay seller? What are some things you'd like to improve? What are some things that are going on? One of the things that we've noticed, of course, new for this year, is that stores, for the most part, are back. How has that affected you as a seller? Are you buying more? Are you staying patient on certain things? What is it? But that's going to be part of what we talk about today. Um, so for me, I would say there's a couple of things, issues in my business for eBay. Number one, I do wish I could, you know, I guess list quicker.
Hmm.
When it comes to like, because I'm sorting out so many items. When it comes to
You're
like
talking about
sorting,
sneakers in general, sneakers.
yeah, sneakers in general. Because I really want to get the inventory correct, and
Mhm.
that actually one of the problems on here. So I want to make sure that going through the system, it's done correctly. So
Right,
that does take a little bit more time. But if we have seen before, also like if you spend the time to make sure it's done right that
right,
first time, it's gonna save you so much time compared to like, is this in box, whatever. Next
right.
thing you know, you're digging through everything. So it's something I don't want to go through. The second thing I would say is that with some of the inventory, I think it just went too deep on. My example would be Laker hats.
Yeah.
Like
You
I
got your
could
feelings
get.
in a way. You got your feelings.
Well, I got my feelings in there because they were so cheap.
Right,
I was
right, right,
buying so many of them, and I was like, "There's a great deal on these. They are cheap. I'm just gonna keep buying them." Next thing you know, I'm hundreds now. When I did the count, over thousands
Actually.
in a
Oh,
quantity when it comes to hat wise,
right, right.
and I'm like, this is a lot, and like this is gonna take hella time to sell. Like,
Hmm.
and I'm like, could have there been something better to spend my money on?
Right.
You know what I mean? And the answer is yes.
Always,
And
always yes,
always.
right?
Um, B, what would you say? Anything going on right now that you would say?
I think, I think the, I think eBay could add like an inventory system.
Mm,
Because right now, I mostly rely on the eBay's listing page as my inventory count.
with
Um,
custom skew
yeah,
and
with
everything.
custom SKU and the quantity and stuff like that. Um, I think the biggest thing is I wish they could add a cost of goods there.
True. I
on
think that
that,
would definitely help out a
right? I
lot.
think that's an. I mean, imagine like we fill up so many things on listing uh, details, right? But I think a cost of goods would be amazing. That way, after a sale, you really know what you know what you made. I think that would be really cool in the business perspective. But I think I agree. I wish it was faster um, to list on eBay, especially because with sneakers there is a style code, right? Now, style code should be able to provide where it's made, materials, pretty much everything in the box label should be automatically transported. Um, which is also I I I've talked to them about it, which is I think that's something that they're working on. Eventually, it's gonna happen, kind of like the goat style of listing. Just using the only downside with that is they just have to figure it out because eBay is more of there's more mix, there's more like variation, right? Like no box, new with box, use. There's more of that stuff, but I think that'd be cool. Somebody said include it in SKU. Yeah, I use my SKU on inventory location. That's why I cannot do cost of goods. But maybe you could do multiple SKUs if they have, because we only have one SKU. I wish we have multiple SKU first SKU and second SKU. But what I wanted with the cost of goods filter or input is it would calculate it for you. Because even if we put it on the SKU, you still have to calculate it yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's a fee breakdown already on your sales. I like that. But if we just put a cost of goods, I think it'd be really really fun and easy.
Listing is time consuming on eBay. I wish more would populate by itself. There we go, Josh Leva. Ask Chat GPT to list. There we go. Appreciate that. First time watching on the stream. Let me go back up. Good comment to sneaker pickers. Stores are definitely back. You can be selective again.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that's a good comment because I think at one point it's just kind of like, hey, look at all this stuff that stores are back. I'm
Right?
gonna buy everything.
No.
And exactly the answer is no. You should be selective and or still doing the research, despite maybe how great deals might be or how dope a jersey might look.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily mean that it's a great buy. Danny also said too in his stores, too many Bulls jerseys. So it's interesting because of course where he's at it only makes sense.
Yeah.
But let's say you find a Bulls jersey here in El Paso, like a Pippen, you're gonna be like, oh man, I haven't really
It's a
come
buy.
across a Pippen
Yeah.
too often. I'm
Yeah.
gonna buy, but how flooded is that market right now? How many Mitchell and S jerseys are now showing up? Well, if we go to the let me see finds real quick. We're gonna do finds quick. Why did it remove? There we go. So some of the jerseys. Here's a Shaq, which the blue one is dope. The blue one on the Shaq. We did see this one last time on the golf. Anybody else find these besides eBay Poshman? Or is this a one-off? Who knows?
Mhm.
I wanted to show. Let me see. So here's more of the jerseys. Real Deal Thrifter on the Iverson Georgetown. More Vince Carter. How many variations of VC are we gonna see? We got Raptor shorts, Bulls shorts, and the pinstripe. This one I think is kind of more of like a city edition type of thing. Let me see. We had some other ones. We gotta go all the way up. Rashard on the Walton. What happened here? I clicked on Ohio State for some reason. Let me go back. There it is. That's nice. There we go. Cincinnati.
There we go.
And $30 on those. More of this is like that Galaxy tie dye. Raptors this time. $15. Let's see, we got Astros. Oh, look at those.
Oh,
These
wait.
right.
I like that. That's 90s vibes right there.
There you go, $17. Two Pete Rose today, Danny. All right, let me see. I wanted to show where are the other ones. Oh, LeBron. LeBron and the rookie at 30. More of the Iverson Georgetown. Apparently, there's a ton of the Steve Nash, which I'm kind of surprised.
That's wild.
Um,
They probably just reproduce so much more, huh?
I guess so. Pass on Raptors and the Georgetown today. Sneaker pickers. Let me see. Mr. Sports LA, always good to see you. I know you've been finding jerseys as well. Bulls on the shorts. More. Let's go to the jersey finds. Giannis on the Swingman Bucks at Ross, which is random.
Oh, that's kind of high though, huh?
Yeah, 40. It's kind of tough. A lot of people don't buy Giannis.
Hmm.
Unless
Well,
it's kind of
also
like a
because like
special city edition.
I think it's a small market. You know,
Yeah.
Milwaukee and then Greece is not a really big basketball country, so
Here's more. Let's see, Georgetown on the Iverson. I guess the main thing here is just kind of like that splatter look that I guess for some reason they just didn't sell well. Jerseys or shorts or something. The whole splatter designs that Mitchell and Ness went with. There's another one right there. Richard, man, Richard's just finding a bunch of jerseys right now. More
shoot,
Vince Carters. Crazy.
I would be gun shy after seeing all those.
All the Carters. Two Pippins, LeBron, rookie.
I think LeBron's good, the rookie.
40 is taxing for a swingman, but I'm buying. He's going to be in the spotlight for a while. Sneaker flip, fine. Let me see. Just matters how big your name is on eBay. If you have the same thing as a seller with 10K more reviews, they're going to buy theirs first every time. Clark Kent. Sold a pistol Pete Hawks today for $90. Nice. Let me see. I take all of them if you can move them. I think there's some Iversons, Operation Retag, and we also got the Penny, Josh Leva, 3 of the Penny Hardaway. Now, shoes, outlets, LA Gonzalez.
Wow.
Man, a lot of people were very unhappy with
Yeah. Dude,
with the quality on
did
these.
you get a pair?
I did not.
I have a pair. It's still in a Nike box. I'm afraid to open it.
you don't you don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
Anybody else on the threes like the quality? Did you get a good pair? Let me see. Cartful for Funky Finds on the cleats and the South Park and more. I think Brian also found some of the Predators as well on some of the Adidas. Let me see. Very light for Burlington, a nice Larry Johnson jersey, and looks like a Vapor Max Plus. There we go. I don't know what happened to the B. We'll see when it comes back. Oh, there he is. I don't know what happened to
What
you.
happened? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. You're good to go. LeBron's at 60 and a size 17. And then here's another one here. And there he is. Oh, what's going on? And then apparently Nordstrom rack with the dunks
Oh, not
at
bad.
60.
On a Sunday?
Honestly,
Sheesh.
Nordstrom rack. There we
Really
go. Sticker
fight
flip
the
fine.
line.
Yes, sir. Sold a Predator for $190 an hour ago. There we go, Brian. Cleveland area insanely flooded with the LeBron jerseys. Interesting.
Wow. Well, now
Um,
it seems like it's very regional, huh?
yeah. I guess whatever your region is, you get the flood of those jerseys or something. Crazy. All right, so let's talk to the B for a little bit. So here we go. Top 3 problems all eBay sellers face. We're going to start off with number 3, which I don't think any of these are going to be a surprise, but they're always good to revisit, especially with the top 3. So number 3, capital and or finding items that sell. And in parentheses it says, remember, items that sell not just finding items. So when we talk about both of these, a lot of the questions that we get usually is like, how much should I pay myself? How much should I be reinvesting? Um, and look, B had told me, of course, many years ago, like, why is that money sitting there? Why aren't you reusing that money? Why do you have money there?
Why do
And
you have
so,
money? You should be
exactly.
broke.
Yeah, why do you have money? Period. I mean, it should be reinvested in different assets at this point. And it made 100%. I mean, he was correct. And so you have to think to yourself, how much should I be reinvesting into the business? And if you want to make six figures a year, can you find that many profitable items? Like it said in the whole title, we're not looking for items, period. We want profitable items.
Right.
So are you buying the right items, or can you wait for those items to sell if sales are a little bit slower, or if the market is somewhat mini flooded at the moment as well? Are there times where you feel like you're getting a little too patient on offers that come in?
Mm-hmm.
Or are there times where you're like, you know what? That's a good offer. It's a decent offer. I'm profitable. It's not the best, but I do feel like I should accept and keep it going.
Right.
Um, maybe a little bit blurry. I don't
Dig-
know, kind of blurry. Okay, no,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit better. Okay, there we go. Let me see. That's the only two problems. Everything else, not a big deal. Big money mo. Let me see. Sometimes the first offer is the best. Danny. So B, what do you think from the first couple of things that we kind of mentioned? Let's starting off with, like how much should you be reinvesting in the business? I mean that really goes to the personal, I
Right.
guess, what
Right.
that person can reinvest.
Yeah. I think for me, like if you're trying to, like, I think there's two things to look at it. Um, you have to have a goal. When you're trying to, you know, reinvest your business, right? Like, what's your goal this year? Are you trying to buy yourself a vacation, right? Or are you trying to become full time? Or if you're full time, or I guess the question for everybody is, are you trying to have more profit this year than last year, right?
Yeah.
Or last month, right? Or last 3 months. I think that we've always said it. You have to buy more than what you sell in order to grow. So I think that's the biggest thing that I ask myself. And to be honest, this year I've asked myself, like, do I want to grow? I actually kind of said, like, yes, but not like I've always done for the last few years. I've always doubled my business. For me, it's like it's gotten to a point that there's a lot more challenges in growing, right? The reason why we've added more space. Um, so I think I'm more interested to become a better buyer. I think that's the biggest thing.
Mm.
Um, because eventually you have access to more capital. Eventually you'll have more money to spend. Eventually you'll have more room. Eventually you'll have more storage. Eventually you'll have more manpower to list. But what I think a lot of people come short with is they're still not good buyers.
Hmm.
I think
Well,
that's the biggest thing.
what about, I guess you're saying not good buyers, but what about this mindset of like, okay, let's say someone bought maybe not the best of jerseys. What if like they bought they're all size small, for
Right.
example, and let's say there's a ton of them out there, but they did find a Pippin and they sold it for $90. So
Right.
bought it
Right.
for 30, sold it for 90. But they also have 20 size smalls
Mm-hmm.
of a
Yeah.
different player still in inventory
Yeah.
that have not moved at all and don't know when they're going to move. So I guess the question is, would you see that as profit? As like, all right, cool, I tripled my money selling it at 90, but I have so much here
Yeah.
that may not move at all. So it's kind of like,
Right. Yeah. So you just reinvested your profits on dead items, right? The goal is, like I said, like the goal is every time you sell, you try to upgrade your product catalog, right? So when you sell a terrible size, your next goal should be get a better size. Um, and also, like, don't be afraid to return stuff. Like,
True.
like I've done it. Like, if it's a terrible size, like size smalls, and next thing you know, they're they're flooded, return it. Or if not, make $10 in it. Like sell it for like undercut everybody. And if you're making money, undercut it. I mean, like, you know, if it's a terrible item, you should fast play it, sell it, and get the money quick, even at 5-10 bucks, because you're already there.
So I guess at what point are you willing to fast sell it then? I mean,
I
90
would say
days, 120 days,
I would say
or
every 90 days you gotta clear out. You gotta clear out if you're growing, especially if you're growing and you have lesser capital. You should. I mean, one of the things that I've realized is like the reason why I grew so fast. We grew so fast because I was so on top of my inventory. Any dead inventory, I was getting that money back quick. And then come to realize, like last year, I'm looking at my store. I'm like, oh crap, I still have like inventory for a year ago, and these are not inventory that is going up in value.
mm,
Like regular Converse, basic Nikes. At that point, you should be able to let go and you know cut your higher profit expectation. If you spend 30, right? My goal is if I spend 30, when I was building, you gotta make 30 in it. But if it's not moving after 90 days, then you gotta be like, wait, it's not as good as I thought it was. So I would lower my expectation to like, okay, let me see if I can make $15 profit. Because at that point, your money has sat for so long. So worst case scenario, if it's not really moving, just sell out, break even.
I mean, I guess in season we would say. Let's say
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
in season. It is something that people are looking for,
right.
but what would you say if you're a like raw seller that you're just like screw it, I'm just gonna make $8 to $12 per item on every item and try to get it out quick.
I think you can uh you can up to a certain amount of quantity, right? Let's
Yeah,
say like
because
because you'll run out of products or you'll run out of time sourcing, right? Let's say like if you're trying to flip 100 items in a week, you better make sure you can find 100 items this week, to replenish it, or you're you're out of
you're
business.
gonna be done with minimal profit.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think minimum profit. I mean, that's why it's there's a called the volume game. If you're making $10, $15, you better make sure you could get thousands of them, right? Because if you think about it, right, if I'm trying to make 10,000 a month, if I'm making 10,000, $10 per item, I better sell. And then if you divide 1,000 items a month divided by 30 days, crap, that's like what, 30 items a day?
Yeah.
33 items a day. Can you source 33 items a day? And do you have the enough manpower to list 33 items a day and ship 33 items a day?
And in the end, it's like, is it worth your time and effort?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. All right. Yes, yeah. You're making 10,000, but you're working easily 16 hours a day.
Sneaker Flip finds this quick flip in theory makes sense when you can consistently get that product.
Hmm.
People who dump elite cleats for 60 is a joke as they'll
Yeah.
keep finding them.
Yep.
As if they'll keep finding them, sorry.
Hmm. Hmm.
Let me see. Quick flip the Pegasus, not the fire stuff. Josh
Yeah.
Leva. Let me go back up and see. Rodolfo, take advantage of the 45 days that Burlington gives us.
Yeah. That is smart.
What if you
Cause
stay true to what if you stay true to Burlington $45 or 45-day model?
you can.
You're like
That's smart.
day 45, here it is.
Yeah. I, that would be so smart. You shouldn't run out of capital at that point
True.
because
You would
even
never
at
run out
that
of
point,
capital at that point.
huh?
You would never run out of capital.
Yeah, at that point, like you're. I think that's a healthy. I think that's a healthy 500 item store if you do that.
Now, we're also assuming you have more than one Burlington. or
Right, right, yeah. You'll be burning your bridges. I would return it in the furthest Burlington I could find.
That's the thing that sucks in our city because we have one really good Burlington, and that's the Burlington that Brian said that everybody was at, and the other Burlingtons are they're kind of lackluster, but
Yeah, you
we're
return the
slowly trying to
trash.
get more.
Yeah, and then again, at the end of the day, like if you have a good relationship with the people, it's not like you're spending the money there again. Don't get a refund. I would get a gift card. That's what I used to do. I get an in-store credit.
Eventually, you can get banned from returns where I'm at.
Yeah, just don't give your ID or phone number. See, I know the hacks. That's
I
why
know
we're
that.
watching the Hustler Hack Show.
I have three in a radius of 50 miles, Rodolfo. Josh Leva, my Burlington would kick me out. With all those
Yeah,
returns, that person would be the
well,
most hated man.
you guys are talking. You guys talk like you guys buy 100 bad buys every month. If that's the case, dang.
Give a fake
I'm
number
talking
every
about
time you return.
I'm talking about 3 to 10 items.
Oh, okay.
Not like
Be smart about your items still. Don't go.
yeah, it's not like buy everything and then get their return.
Day 44. Here it is.
Yeah, and also too like taper it down, bro. Like don't return. Like you're telling me you only source once a month, and you wait for day 45 to source again, right? Come on, man.
So, which also keeps in mind, that's also part of this whole thing with capital and finding items that sell, is looking at the different types of sellers. Because keep in mind, doing the retail and even the OA, RA and OA, you are going to put up way more money, way more capital than someone that goes to the bins.
Mhm.
Like if they're going to the bins or buying clothing, they're going 50 cents, 75 cents, maybe $1 something per clothing item. I mean, dirt cheap compared
At that
to,
point, you better be a whatnot seller.
and just keep it running.
Sell everything for $5. You'll be rich.
Oh man. Well, that's the thing though too, is like, but also the differences with RAOA compared to like the bins thrift or model is looking at like the defects in those items.
Yeah.
If it's
Oh,
pre-owned, it's used. Are you going to
you have to
clean the
wash
items? You're going to
them.
wash them. What
Yeah.
are there holes? Are there tears, rips, stains? What you got to look at all these things compared to a brand new item. It's a totally different game.
Hmm.
Um, but there's people that really do have a system in play when it comes to the bins,
Yeah.
and we see it all the time. A lot of the YouTubers that I've seen, they'll buy things at the bins for 75 cents in total because they've bought so
Yeah.
much. And then you're selling $15 here, $20
Yeah.
here, $10 here, $8 here, some even lower. It's like, hey, $6.
Yeah.
But I tripled my money because,
Yeah.
I mean,
You just
realistically,
have
you
to
went
move
from,
volume, right?
yeah, you
Like
got to
if you're
move
making
volume.
$5 profit, you have to sell 1,000 items to make $5,000.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's,
choose your heart. That's what I say.
yeah,
Choose your
either way,
heart.
yeah, choose your heart. Like you said, I mean, everything's going to be hard. Running
Yeah.
a business is hard. I
Yeah.
mean, all right, number two. Man, we barely did the first. We barely did number three. All right, now we're down to number two. Most problems or problem all eBay sellers face: inventory management, and especially when you list across multiple platforms. So we're talking about storage, double selling items, guessing where items might be, and also some sellers treating items not necessarily with care, kind of like, hey, I got this item. What would it be an item? Cool, I got this item. It's gonna sell,
Correct.
but I'm in no rush. So it's kind of just sits there, and not necessarily in a death pile type of way, to where you just feel like, well, I have a ton of them, so I'm in no rush to move it. You could do that with the jerseys that you find at Burlington. You could say, well, I found 30 Steve Nash jerseys. I'm in no rush to get to it because I know there's a lot of them listed, and it'll get to that point. But that shouldn't be the case. It should be like every single item that you do have in your store is valuable
Right.
and should be treated as such.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, if you don't treat it right, then you bought the wrong product because you don't care, right? Like, I think the biggest thing in our category or like our style of selling or the type of items that we sell is like we like the stuff that we're trying to source, right? So it makes it less easy, right? That's why they said sacrificing for something that you don't like is called a job, but sacrificing for something that you truly like, it's called passion. So I think when you come to that point, when you truly like the product and you truly value the product, it goes it goes beyond listing it properly, goes beyond taking better photo, and then it goes to storing them properly, and it goes to shipping them properly. So I think that's kind of like the domino effect. Um, you know, in a way, even if you're not a sneakerhead, but if you have a goal to make ends meet or to make this business for a living, then you better treat it properly, right? Like the way that even customers treat it properly, even if they're lowballers. That's one of the things that we have done. So I think that's a really good point. That valuing your product or the stuff that you bought to sell will will eventually lead to better organization, better inventory, better listing, better everything.
So storage, I'm not really going to get into because they
Yeah,
mention it here, but because we talked about it last
yeah,
week was all about storage.
right, right.
But what about the whole double selling and or guessing where you think items might be? So let me start off with double selling. Goat, Mercari, eBay, multiple platforms. I mean, it has happened to us, to
Oh,
everybody. I would think
everybody. Yeah.
you, and it's kind
Until
of
there's
funny
a
how it
software
happens.
until there's a software that automatically takes it down, it'll happen.
It's kind of funny how it happens too. You're like, man, this hasn't sold. Like, how come it hasn't sold? This and that. You're kind of wondering about it. Next thing you know, it sold on Goat, and then like seconds later, sells on eBay. You're like, what the hell happened here? It didn't move, and now they're both gone, and I only have one instead of two.
Hmm.
Um, so for inventory management, though, what do you do? What does B do to try to eliminate that as much as possible?
Um, so we have we're not cross listed on something on different platforms right now,
Hmm.
only eBay. But when we had cross listed, we thought our rule was drop everything, remove the listing.
As soon as you
So
can.
as soon as you can, right? So whether we're eating, whether we're talking to somebody, we literally say pause. Something sold. So we found out that that was the most effective way for us. Um, and then assign, like for example, like I usually it's like at nighttime I will do that. During the day, JC will do that. So we have kind of like an assignment, and just be on top of it. Because if you put it out later, you forget it. Because running a business, there's just so many things that you don't plan for that pops up, and I think that's the best way that works for us.
Happened to me twice this week. I think eBay double
Oh,
listed my item, retrospective gear. You know what? The weird thing is, there was like a golf shoe, Nike, like a Janowski golf shoe that I had listed. And then I went to go look at my listings and I'm like, why is it on here twice?
oh,
And I was like, that doesn't make sense. Like, I wouldn't list it twice. And even if I tried to list it twice, it would tell me that this item is already listed. So I'm like, that doesn't make sense at all. So maybe I have to double and triple check maybe some of these items to see what's going on there. Oh, Mr. Rue, what's up? If something sells on Go, I try to go to eBay immediately, as we said, since eBay is the strictest with the cancellations, which I
yeah.
do agree there. So I try to, which inventory management. What about spreadsheets, or what does everybody have there? For me, I do have the spreadsheet. Of course, I can access it on the phone. If something does sell, I'll double check to make sure I do have more than one available. And if not, then I'll have to take it off as soon as I can. But if you don't have a spreadsheet or you don't have an inventory management, then that could really get tough because now you don't know how many you have at all.
Mm-hmm.
So if something does double sell, then obviously it's going to lead to more of the high transaction defect rate, which you don't want that when it comes to the eBay side. Which I still think is funny though that as a seller, mistakes do happen, right? You could get high defect rate, but as a buyer, I could send offers for hundreds of items, not pay, and nothing happens to me. Like, come on now. It's got to go both ways. Like, you got to
For
get.
sure. For sure.
Let me.
Eventually, we'll definitely gonna have a celebration. I told eBay that we're gonna have a celebration if when it all happens, which they say it's rolling out. But yeah, like man, that's my walking is faster than that rollout.
Let me see. I have a Zion jersey that is double listed. Which one do I end? One has two watchers.
The one that has the least watcher.
Yeah. And send them an offer while you're at it.
Yeah, send both an offer.
Yeah, there we go. Let me see what the chat says. Big old Excel database. There we go. Dapper. They've been saying the rollout since 2020. Yaroslav,
I
exactly.
mean, it's eBay, so that rolled really slow. That's about right.
Okay, so the third thing that was part of that was guessing where items are or think where they are. So here's the
Yes.
thing though. If I go to some of your stores, we're not going to do that here live, but if I go to some of your stores on here, seeing people here in the chat, and I try to find the most random item, more than likely it's going to be the cheapest item in your store and it has nothing to do with your store. Like, it's not really a relatable product. Do you know where it is? And if me or B bought it right now, select goods and don't do it. I don't wanna hurt your defect rate. But do
Yeah.
you know where it is? Dapper says yes. All right, I like that. Dapper's ready. We do know Dapper's store, so we might be able to test that out.
I do have a one off bin. I do have a one off rack and a one off bin. Like
Okay.
all the randoms are there. The problem is it still there?
Yes, yes, very nice. AK Rowdy, you need some socks? I'll find them. There we go. All right, I like that. Yeah. Oh man. Cause let me see. I know I did have who was I talking to? They were like, I'm pretty sure this is in the bin that's in the closet in the hallway, and I'm like, no, that is not a good sign. Broadway B, my random stuff is on Poshmark. There
That's
we
smart.
go.
That's smart. That's smart.
All right, so here we go. Number one. Here was the number one problem all eBay sellers face. Drum roll. Creating a consistent business schedule. Now, are you a part-time, semi-fun seller, or are you running a business? Now, when they broke this thing down, it was kind of saying how almost like when you introduce yourself to somebody. I sell things on eBay. Or do you say I run an eBay business? Or maybe you say I run it could be like a sportswear, activewear, sneaker. Is business thrown on there? Or do you say more of like, I'm a reseller. I'm a part-time seller. I sell on eBay here and there. What is it and how, and the way that you treat it and the way that you express it is actually the way you probably run your business.
Wow, that's deep. I'm gonna have
uh,
to change my spiel.
what do you think about that?
I s- I say, I mean that's very true. I mean, I mean, like, even if, kind of like just your favorite things in life, right? Whatever it is, right? Like we're into shoes, right? Like, what's your favorite shoe? Then all of a sudden I'll be like, Jordan 12 Flu Blade, and then they say why, and then you're able to explain it. That's because you care a lot, and there's some memories in it. So, how you say or you introduce what you do means a lot. So that's actually a good realization. That's a good realization. That's why I said. I mean, what I said earlier is true. I need to change the way I introduce, because I say we have an e-commerce store. That's what I say.
Okay.
Well,
I
how do
think
you say it?
I think if you just came out of nowhere, you try to introduce yourself, you're like, I'm a sneaker reseller. That doesn't sound good. And like,
Yeah, yeah. That's why like I thought e-commerce. I have an
okay,
e-commerce store is like a lot better. Um, but yeah, I still need to make it better. That Glenn made me realize something right now.
okay, there we go.
Or think about it.
Rory says I sell things on eBay. I try to be modest, not trying to be fancy.
Mm.
I'm an e-commerce merchant. Select goods. I'm an e-commerce giant conglomerate. What is?
What was that thing that we ran into? I'm an aspiring seven-figure seller.
I'm an aspiring seven-figure seller. They're like, so where where are
What
you
is
at?
that?
Or what does that mean?
Dude,
Um,
I've never seen Glenn so triggered till he heard that guy introduce himself. I'm an aspiring seven-figure seller. I feel like that's, I don't know, maybe we're mean for saying that, but we just know that he was far from it.
yeah.
That's why it was funny. But if we didn't know the person, we probably like, oh man, that's a dope goal. I probably said that, but like that guy came and gone. That's why I wish she's still aspiring.
Let
Maybe
me.
expiring already. He was
Yeah, it went
expiring.
from aspiring to expired. Let me see what else is on here. Let's see. I say I'm in it to flip it. There we go. I like that. I have an e-commerce reselling business, Mendez Finds. I sell e-commerce. Let me see. That's your goal, not your business. Make your flip fine. Let me see. Reseller has a poor connotation. People look down on it usually. Dapper fanatic. Very true. Yeah, I'm a reseller.
Yeah, I mean, I think they look at like you're like what do you call that? The ticket flippers on the game. What do you call them? The scalpers. Right? I think that's kind of like how I see resellers too.
Mm,
Like if you just say it, like reseller, like scalper, like, but we understand each other,
yeah.
right? But if people probably, yeah, they probably like, oh, you're a raw scalpers.
Raw scalper.
Raw scalper. Really good scalp.
Shoe scalper. There goes select goods. I'm a scalper. Scalper in the chat. Let me see. Fire fitted bee. There we go,
Hey,
Matthew.
there you go. There you go.
Reseller does have bad implications, and people don't believe you can buy things in store and sell online like the hack doesn't exist. Let me see. We're not raw scalper. We take cleats from kids. You're just an evil, bad
Yeah.
reseller.
Those kids don't need the elites. They're fine with the academy.
RBX.
Yeah,
Uh,
academy and pros. They'll be fine. They're gonna ruin it anyway. Leave the elites to the scalpers.
I'm a budget version of Jake, says Josh. Ross Burlington scalper. That's what it is, Clark Kent. Let me see. Just ran into another reseller, and now he is there when I'm there, trying to run me out. One kick finder.
Yeah, it's happened a lot. It'll happen. They'll be gone soon. If they act like that, they're not serious.
How do you deal with other resellers? One kick finder.
You run them out.
You run them out. Dapper says I'm taking pros too. Screw the kids.
Okay, they can have the academy then.
So going back to number one, as far as the business schedule and introducing yourself, you know, here's a good one. Okay, let's say the B. Jason's not in the room, right? Now let's say B was a single man, right?
Right.
He's going to a bar,
Yeah.
see some of the honeys. You introduce yourself as
Hmm.
what? So that would be, you know, some of the chat you're saying, like e-commerce. I
Yeah.
run a business.
Yeah.
I'm a reseller.
I'm a
I'm a
I'm a
sneaker
I'm
reseller.
a business mogul.
I'm a okay, now we're talking.
Business.
Business mogul. Now we
See,
really
see
jumped.
how I got all my terms right. Hey, baby girl, I'm a business mogul. I'm a CEO.
He's a CEO. Danny
Yeah.
said it right there. He's a
Yeah.
CEO.
At the same time, the CFO.
At the
At the
same
same
time.
time, the shipper.
The
And
shipper as well.
I run a startup. I
How a
put
business
B
line
in
totally
eBay.
works.
So like that's pretty good. I put B in eBay.
Oh man, here we go.
The janitor do.
All right, so going back to number one, so semi part-time fun seller, or you're running a business. Now this goes into your business and the way you run it, aka the death piles, lazy on listings, aka item specifics, your title, photos, description, fast shipping or shipping policy, return policy, all come into play, but do they really matter to you or not? Because running a business, they should.
Well, they should.
So, man, I mean, return policy, not all of us take returns. Not all of
Yeah.
us accept returns. Shipping policy, are you a fast shipper or not, as far as like next day or 1 day, 2 day, 3 day? It,
Fast shipper is a must.
it is a must, and it's very doable on,
Yeah.
well, an eBay scale. I
If you're
mean,
not if
the
you're
the
not fast,
whatnot side was hilarious because people claim to be a fast shipper, and then 5 to 7 days later,
yeah.
you're not even, your item hasn't even shipped.
Yeah, they're
What
not
happened
1 day.
there?
They don't got 1 day in their account. Glenn has less than 1 day. 2 day
that's why
max.
that's why I'm gonna retire it like that.
Yeah, retire it like that. Screenshot it and retire.
2 days max, retrospective. Photos, description, title. And a lot of it also came down to, besides that's in number one, is accountability. Now, accountability, which in our level up program, our level up was not about, let me teach you the
Fastest way to get
shortcuts.
to a million.
Yeah, shortcuts and tips to Ross finds or selling here and doing this. Like, it was honestly a lot of it came down to accountability. And even when I talked to Brian, he's like, that's what I loved about it the most, was because showing up that next week or 2 weeks later, you know, you don't want to show up being like, well, I didn't really source. I didn't really move any items. Um, and I don't really know where I'm going from here as far as like growing the business. So a lot of the accountability came into play.
Right.
There was a quote or a couple of quotes too, and different like podcasts and stuff that I've listened to. And one of the millionaire e-commerce sellers, they had asked him like, how did you get to this point? And he said, years and years and years of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Wow.
And there was no shortcut in there. This was purely putting in the work and doing it again,
True.
again, again, again.
True. Yeah.
Do you think that, which is the definition of insanity, which that's what I was trying to get to, was, but do you think that, I mean, you have to love it though, because if you don't,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
definitely going to just tear you down into like a job mode.
Well, yeah, that's why you become insanely great, right? I saw a quote. The difference between the good and the greats is the good practices same thing over and over again until they get it, right? The greats do it over and over and over and over again until they don't make a mistake.
Mm.
So their goal is not to do it right. Their goal is to not make a mistake.
Yaroslav said definition of insanity doing something wrong over and over. Success is doing the good thing over and over. Because if you do make the mistake, I mean, you have to learn from it.
Hmm.
You can't just keep it going and then the same thing happens again and then it happens again.
Right,
Then it
right,
happens
right.
again. That is what we just said,
Mm-hmm.
doing it over and over, but not that way.
Yep.
I'm not in it for the shortcuts. Retrospective, no shortcuts. Agree, Danny. It's only insanity if you're expecting a different result. If it's working, keep doing it.
Right, right.
So if that's the case, the items you're buying are profitable. You're seeing the profits that are coming in.
Yeah.
You know that it's not a waste because you're building something there.
Right.
But it will take time and a lot of time, especially when you do have, you know, it's good to have crazy goals. I mean, not to diss aspiring guy again,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to make that effort to eventually get to that point, and maybe you are keeping a spreadsheet of you getting to that goal.
Right.
Um,
They said if you can't measure it, you can't grow it.
hmm.
So if you're not measuring yourself, you can't grow it. That's why I'm a data nerd. You know, like part of our level up program was seeing if you grew 1% over a week.
And
That's it.
I think that's what a lot of the questions that we get too, and what makes it kind of difficult when it gets to the business side of things, right? Is because when people do get to a certain goal, let's say, man, I really wanted to get to, let's say, for example, like 40,000 in my checking.
Right.
You hit 40,000 in your checking, but are you going to reinvest that money or not? So
Right.
let's say you do hit that goal. Are you trying to go even further? And let's say you spend half of that. Okay, you spent 20,000 on new merchandise to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you did hit your goal, but you don't have that 40,000 in hand anymore, but you have it in assets.
Yeah.
But are going back to number 3, are these assets good or not? Are they dead inventory? Are they great inventory? Are they
Right.
going to move or they're not going to move?
Right.
So they're kind of stuck to where you're like, well, man, you could have had that cash, or you're going to take the risk and you're going to try to build that 40 and now turn that 40 into 65 to 85
Right.
plus. Depends what it is. Why am I blurry? There
There
we
you
go.
go.
What about, I guess, B, when it comes to risk?
I'm talking about risk. I mean, I'm I'm the risk I'm the riskiest person you'll ever meet. I think only because big part of it is I'm an immigrant and my perspective is so different. Um, it may be wrong to others. I'm not gonna lie because I'm so risky that I put everything back in the business.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, but what about savings? But what about emergency fund? But what about and and I say it's like, well, if it happens, it happens. We'll deal with it. We'll find a solution then. Um, but eventually, I think it's gonna taper down. I think the risk is gonna taper down. I mean, even now, I'm not as risky as I was
Mm.
because now I have to think I have a lot more to lose. But I think if you're growing something, you have to be insanely optimistic about taking the chance because if you don't have a lot, what's there to lose?
Hmm. So buying discipline is so important, says Sneaker Flip Fine. Now, Piano says, I keep hearing we're not in the storing inventory business, but then you need to invest and increase your number of listings, which is storing more.
It's facts.
Sneaker Flip Fine said store the right inventory.
Agree. Agree. Because at the end of the day, the goal is not to chase your tail. The goal is to live comfortably, to have enough inventory that if I choose not to source for the next 2 3 months, I'll be fine.
Because you have so much already there
Right. Right.
that's worth money,
Yeah.
and it just needs to sell. But in order for it to sell, it needs to be listed and marked in
Yeah.
inventory correctly.
And good product.
It
Right.
has to be good.
So I think that's the key. Because eventually my goal is to like if I if I decide not to work for a year, if I have $300,000 worth of inventory in my store, I'm fine. It happened during COVID, right? That's everybody told me, oh, be hustle beast in the storage business. COVID hit, we're swimming, like we're doing fine. We're shipping stuff every day. Post COVID, I still have inventory.
Yeah.
So I think that's the kind of perspective that I want to take this business, because I don't want to work for the business. I want eventually the business to work for me.
Yeah.
So developing systems and stuff like that, and eventually adding more people to the business. I mean, this year that's the step that we took. That eventually we can take trips and still have our eBay business going because somebody will be able to fulfill it. So I think that's it.
Let me see. So sneaker pickers and B. Let's see if you guys both want to answer.
Hmm.
So let's say you get to 800K in listed value. So what do you do at that point? Do you reach for a million and you just keep buying, you keep pushing, you want to get to the a million listed value? Or you're like 800K, I'm set and I'm going to slow down as far as like sourcing goes, and I'm going to sell all these items and I'm going to live comfortably by honestly just kind of selling.
Yeah, yeah,
And like you said, now at that point the business pretty much works for itself because you're gonna get daily sales even at
yeah, 100%.
100K listed value, but
Yeah, yeah.
you know you're not necessarily jumping over hoops to make sure you
Yeah,
have a bunch of inventory all the
yeah. I,
time.
I I think for me at that point, I'll just be like outlet hunting. I'll be outlet hunting, going to different states in kind of like a vacation style,
Mm.
and source, and then buy products. Uh, and at that point, I think if you can maintain 50% of the inventory that you're selling, I think you'll be good for a long time. If you sell 10 items a week, you just buy 5 items a week. I think you'll be good for a long time. And again, if your sell through rate is, if think about it, if your sell through rate is, you know, 1% a month, then you have what, 8,000 months, right? Because 1% of 800,000 is 8,000. How does 8,000 a month for you look like, Glenn? That's pretty good living,
Yeah.
right? 1% every month. You'll be good for 8,000 months.
With good
Dang,
inventory.
dang, that's good.
That's good.
That's good.
He's
How
like
many
that.
how many years is 8,000 months? I'm not that
See,
good in math.
all right, B's doing his math. For Uncle Sam, it's sourcing trips. B says Rodolfo. There we go.
Exactly. Oh,
um,
that's 660 years.
what? My inventory was at 250K 3.5 years ago. It has been all growth since then.
Yeah, because you
Or
become a
25,000, sorry.
a better sourcer.
Because Sneaker Pickers, I think now he's at 250K or
Yeah,
300K, right? I think.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Sneakers Envy is around 300K, I
Mhm,
would
yeah,
think. Okay.
yeah.
So, man, that is wild. I guess to see how many items are moving per day and just, you know,
Yeah, I mean, like 300, let's just say 320,000, and then you move 10% every month. That's 32,000 a month. And that's low. 10% a month is low. My math is off.
Yeah, bro, your math's also sourcing code.
I'm sure. I'm sure it is. No, I'm saying like yeah, that one probably
Let's see, select goods. So what you're saying is I need to source more and be better at buying.
yes. More trips, less hauls.
But when you do wherever you're storing it, also needs to be on point. Because the more and more you're buying and the more and more you're storing, I mean, you're gonna have to be able to find that item, know where it is, and pretty much keep it safe. Also, like not getting damaged, not losing it. And so as the inventory grows, that's definitely gonna get harder, of course. Um, Young says, I don't take money from my business. I just put it back due to retirement and a full time job. There we go. Danny says, I'm at 40K right now. Last year was at 65K. So, Danny, what was the difference? How do you feel the difference is now being at 40K compared to 65K? Um, do you see like slower sales, or do you feel like you have better inventory at 40K compared to the 65K? What are
Yeah,
kind of some different? Because that could happen too.
that is true. Yeah, because like sometimes, like even now, if you cut the fat, right, then now your store gets smaller.
So Danny says, I'm more consistent with the sales now.
There you go. That means you got better variety of product.
I need to get the inventory system in place from last week's show before you go deep. Dapper, exactly. Um, and I guess going back to number one before we finish, it's kind of a random thought too. But let's say you do want to get to like the 100K a year, um, gross or net. I mean, it's up to you. I don't know what your goals are, but
Right.
can you get or find that many items? And or do you have the capital to make such a big buy? Let's say you randomly popped into the outlets and the outlet was like 50% off everything in the store. Unlimited. You can buy as many as you want. Do you have that capital, or capital, space, and time to do it,
Mm-hmm.
to grow your business? Yes or no? And some might not. I don't know. And you'd really have to also keep in mind, I guess, the risk that comes with that. And
Right.
some people might say, well, even though it is a great deal, I would still be, of course, picky on it. Or some people might say, I'll buy as much as I can. Clark Kent, I could buy half. Space would be the biggest issue with time. Number two. I don't have the capital to grow like I would like to, says Danny. Capital and space, a yes. No one has time by themselves. Sneaker pickers. Um, yeah, the capital and space. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
see, there are 5 or 6 times a year when a huge sale hits or a glitch, buy, then coast until the next one happens. Now, that sounds like sneakers envy right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, I just want to make 2 or 3 huge bulk buys throughout the year,
Right.
and I'm chilling for the year as things just sell. I ship it. I don't have to source. I don't have to worry about
Mm-hmm.
getting product. I
Yep.
just know that I'll be ready when that happens. And now there's also people that do that for Q4.
Yeah.
They prep for Q4 the entire year. I mean Q4, that's game time. They're ready. Like that is it. So, everyone's different in that aspect.
Yeah. I think pick something that you want to conquer one at a time, and whether it be like capitalization or space. I think you know I think that was my goal, space, and then now we're here. Then now my next goal is capitalization.
Yeah.
Um, and that's assuming that every day you're sharpening your buying skills, right? I think that's it. Capitalization and space is really the main challenge if you're doing everything at a solid on point. If your fundamentals are good, then you can start doing windmill dunks. You see what I'm saying? Like I think that's what we're doing in the basketball term. Then you can do tricks. But if you don't have the fundamental down, Don't do tricks yet. Just keep at it. Put your head down, and you'll be there.
Or don't even do tricks. Just be a Tim Duncan.
Yeah, just be a Tim Duncan. Just play forever. Kind of like just master one. Be a Bruce Bowen. And just or I think that's really, and find what you like. You know what I'm saying? Find what you truly like. If you like big hauls, if you like daily sourcing, do that, and don't do too many. Right? Like they said, the person that chases too many rabbits catches none. So just focus on one rabbit at a time, and you'll get there.
Big fundamental. There we go, Dapper.
Yep.
The store won't be good forever, too. I can see Burlington Raw slowing down. They seem to be winding down after they got a huge supply. I mean, we really don't know. I just know that the jersey supply seems plentiful right now.
Right. Right.
I'm kind of surprised on how many jerseys and shorts
This is
are
the most
really
I've
out
ever
there.
seen. This is the
Yeah,
most I've ever seen.
definitely. The most
Yeah.
we've seen. Um, I don't know how to find big hauls. And that's what Piano said. Finding a lot and having the right inventory is the hardest.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I think the big hauls happen of major consistency,
Mm.
and you just start running into things.
I mean, someone
And
kind of like
also,
Richard who goes to so many stores every
yeah,
day. I mean, on
and
the
also too,
prowl.
once big hauls happen, I mean, even now, like I mean, like just kind of like the journey with what I've had with whatnot. I get offered with big hauls. I don't have the capital,
Mm.
and those big hauls, they just want to sell to you. They don't want to sell it to anybody else, right? So I was like, okay, if you're buying, I'll give you 100 pairs. That's times $400, times $300.
Yeah.
And then if I said like, well, my buddy is like, no, that's I'm selling to you, not your buddy. Okay, sorry.
My local champs has a lot of jerseys 50% off. Kind of crazy how.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even the lid stores, like the ones in the mall.
Yeah, they were on sale too. Crazy. I don't know with the jersey market what is going on there. But it
I
seems
want
more NBA than NFL. Like I haven't really seen like
Well,
a
we
bunch
we
of.
did the NFL run before, right? There was that big NFL run, and I think this is the first time we've seen NFL. I mean NBA, right?
Yeah, I guess because the NFL run is mostly like, all right, Russell Wilson doesn't play for the Seahawks anymore. Here's
Yeah,
those. But here it's more of like, you
throwbacks.
know, yeah, throwbacks. But even the Giannis, the Ross one that we just saw in the
Yeah,
post, was kind of like, what? Like,
dude, I
so
like what Sticker Picker said. Fundamentally consistent. That's a good sticker that you can put on your workroom. Fundamentally consistent.
very
That's pretty good.
nice.
Take,
That
take
means you're
note of
gonna
that.
change. Does that mean you're gonna change
No,
your
no. That's an add-on.
fundamentally consistent
Fundamentally.
right here, all up
Yeah.
top.
Never settle.
I'll cross that out. Put that
Hey,
on there.
that's Sticker Pickers. He made it. Coined that. Now that's your phrase.
Oh, okay, there we go. No more
Yeah.
go out and get it.
Yeah.
All right, so we are done. Anything else before we go?
I
Anything?
think join my live. I'll be selling shorts for cheap. Oh,
When's
what not?
that?
The liquidation site. Let's
When's
go.
that?
After the show.
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh man, this guy's putting in that work.
hmm
I thought it was gonna be tomorrow.
No, there's another one tomorrow. I'm
Oh,
trying
another
to
one
get
tomorrow.
rid of 2,000 items.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I appreciate everyone hanging out. Appreciate the B giving us his time and telling us what he thinks about the topic. I like all these eBay type of business type of
Business.
topics and stuff.
Brain stimulating topics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Not
all right,
those,
I appreciate it, guys. We'll
not
watch the
those
B.
gram stuff.
Not the not the highlight reels.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely want to talk to Sneaker Pickers too. Has a lot of info, a lot of good insight. Has done it. So that'll be good too. Try to get some more questions, comments in there as well. So, all right, we're done.
All right, peace. See you.
Appreciate
Whatnot.
it. Go ahead and get it. See ya.